Good day to everyone. My name is K.S. Matthew, Professor in the Department of Computer Science, Rajagiri School of Engineering and Technology, Kochi. Welcome to the course ESG 200, Design and Engineering, Module 2, Design Thinking, Part 2. In the previous part, in the Design Thinking Module 2, Part 1, we were discussing on various tools and techniques for empathize phase of design thinking. And we have understood the requirements or the problems or the needs of the customers or users by empathizing with them, and we have used various tools in empathizing with the user and capturing the requirements. So now we have understood the requirements or problem to be solved clearly. So the next step is to analyze the requirement because of two reasons. Whenever you want to solve a problem, it is always better to identify the root cause of the problem, and the solution has to address the root cause in order to solve the problem completely and correctly. If your solution is going to address only the symptoms, the problem may not get resolved completely. It may come back after some time. So it is always better to find the root cause of the problem and then address the root cause for solving the problem. So analyze phase is trying to identify the root cause of the problems we have identified during the empathize phase. There are 2-3 techniques for this. One is multi-why or 5 whys technique for identifying the root cause of a problem. It is very simple process, a simple activity, simple tool. It is like repeating the question why multiple times. Why is just a number, good rule of thumb, to peel away the layers of symptoms and go to the root cause of the problem. So you need to keep on repeating why questions multiple times. Doesn't matter 5 or 6 or 7, doesn't matter. As long as you reach the root cause, you need to repeat this question in order to identify the root cause. So I'll explain this tool with a simple example. Assume that one of my MTech students, Sam, was always coming late to my class. My class was in the morning hour. So he used to come late 20 minutes late every day, most of the days. So he was a very good student actually, and he had a good gate score, and I wanted to help him to solve this problem. So I called him one day to my cabin and asked. I had this 5 whys technique in my mind. So I started talking to him and asked 5 questions. My first question was, why are you always coming late? So the answer from Sam was, sorry sir, I really don't want to miss your classes, but I always miss college bus and then comes by city bus, and that's why I come late. So I asked the second why question. Why do you miss college bus? So his answer was, I start late from home. I start late from home. Suppose I don't continue by asking further questions. Immediately after getting the answer for the first question, I may conclude the reason that he is missing the college bus and coming by private bus. That's why he's coming late. So immediately one solution will come to my mind, right? I'm aware of his background, family background. His father is in Gulf, working in Dubai in a good position. And they also have a shop in Ernakulam city. So financially, the family is good, is financially stable. So if I suppose I suggest a solution immediately after listening to this answer from Sam, suppose I ask him, why don't you ask your father to buy a bike for you so that you need not depend on college bus and you can come to the class on time, right? if I suggest that solution, do you think this problem is going to solve? Problem may not get solved if you try to suggest a solution at this stage, unless you know what is the root cause of the problem. So we'll go on further asking questions and find root cause of the problem, then come back and discuss why it may not solve the problem. The current solution may not solve the problem. So then I go on asking the third why question. Why do you start late from home? So the answer was, I get up late in the morning. Fourth why question. Why do you get up late in the morning? I sleep late in the night. So my last why question. Why do you sleep late in the night? What could be the possible answers? Maybe is watching movies or playing games, online games in the night, or chatting with friends, or reading something. There could be different answers, but the answer I got from Sam is this. I help my mother at shop in the evening, and we reach home late night. So that was the answer from Sam. So in that case, suppose I suggested the first solution that came to my mind. Buying a bike, asking for a bike to his father. It may not solve the problem completely, because now he is coming by college bus. The college bus reaches his stop at 7:30 in the morning. And college bus takes around 45 to 50 minutes to reach the college. By 8:20 it reaches the college. So he has to be there at 7:30 in the stop. Otherwise he will miss the bus. That's the current scenario, right? Now suppose he got a bike. He will be very happy to have the bike, definitely. So now after getting the bike, he will think, in bike I will take only 15 minutes to reach home or reach college. So I can sleep for 30 minutes more. So I need to start only by 8 o'clock in the morning to reach college by bike. So I can sleep for 30 minutes more. That's what he may be thinking, right? So if he starts in bike at 8 o'clock instead of 7:30, the road will be full of traffic. And he will be stuck in that traffic and he will still come late to the college. So in that case, if I ask him again, why are you coming late? He will say, the road is full of traffic, I am stuck in the traffic, that's why I am not able to come on time. Right. So it may not solve the problem completely, even if I suggest that solution. How to address the solution the suggested solution has to address the root cause of the problem. Otherwise, the problem is not going to get resolved. Your solution can address all of these causes, sub-causes in addition to root cause. That's okay. If you can your solution can address each of these causes, that will be much effective. The solution will be much effective. But unless it addresses the root cause, the problem will not get resolved completely. So that is a multi-why technique of root cause analysis. The second tool used for root cause analysis is called cause and effect diagram to find the root cause of a problem. It is also known as fishbone diagram or Ishikawa diagram. I will explain this tool with a simple example. So it starts with doing a brainstorming session, and the facilitator will clarify the problem to be analyzed for root cause. And you need to conduct a brainstorming session among the team members to identify the causes or possible causes of the problem. And once you get possible causes from the members during brainstorming, you need to categorize these problems into 4 M's: man-related causes, material-related causes, machine-related causes, and method-related causes. and draw the cause and effect diagram showing all these causes in different bones of a fish. So you'll see an example. After brainstorming, you need to write all the causes, main causes as well as the sub causes in the bones of the fish. So it looks like a fish bone. That's why it is called fish bone diagram or Ishikawa diagram. And once you document all the different main causes and the sub causes in this diagram, you will be able to identify where are the problems, where are the causes concentrated on. That will help you to identify the root cause of the problem. We will see an example. This is a causal analysis done by an automobile company. There was a complaint for one of the cars introduced by the company. The problem was high petrol consumption. So the company wanted to identify the root cause of the problem so that they can resolve the problem. So they conducted a brainstorming session, and during the brainstorming session, lot of ideas came, lot of suggestions came or inputs came on what could be the possible cause of this problem. And all these causes were classified into 6 categories: procedure related, driver related. Ideal case, we say that it is 4 M's, but in the actual scenario, you can have your own specific main causes as well as the sub causes. Procedure related, which is M, method related. Driver related is can be related to men. Vehicle related causes can be related to the machine. Road related, maintenance related, and the material related causes. And for each of this main cause, there are sub causes identified by the people that can also be documented as small bonds of the fish. So this is how a causal analysis has to be done, and cause and effect diagram or the fish bone diagram has to be developed. So this is the second technique for identifying the root cause of the problem. Now in the analysis phase, in addition to identify the root cause of a problem, you should also analyze the conflicting requirements from the users, or conflicting needs from the users. That is called conflict of interest analysis. So it is also called as ENV method, element name value method. Let us look at how does this technique work. Consider the case of Sam, student Sam, coming to my class late. So he was coming to class late because he sleeps late in the night. Time of Sam going to sleep is going to determine whether he will be able to come to class on time. If he goes to sleep very late, there are 2 consequences. So there are 2 scenarios: he goes to sleep late or he goes to sleep early. If he goes to sleep very late, late, what is going to happen? Sam comes late to class and teacher is unhappy. If he is going to sleep late, Sam will come to class only late and teacher will be unhappy. And what is the positive consequence of that? Positive consequence is that Sam helps mother at shop and mother is happy. If he goes to sleep early, again there are 2 consequences. Sam comes to class on time and teacher is happy, and problem is he won't be able to help his mother if he comes early to home. Sam can't help mother and mother is unhappy. So desirable consequence is these 2. Desired result of your solution should be these 2. Sam helps mother at shop and mother is happy. Sam comes to class on time and teacher is also happy. So whatever solution we are going to develop for solving this problem should have this desired result. Sam helps mother at shop and mother is happy, and Sam comes to class on time and teacher is also happy. Both are actually conflicting requirements as per the scenarios. So if the solution is going to address only one of them, either teacher will not be happy or mother will not be happy. So that is not a right solution. Your solution should address this conflict and should make the teacher as well as the mother happy. We talked about, we discussed a story for a problem, for describing a problem of Porthos Taylor. Porthos Taylor. So Porthos Taylor has to stitch a good fitting fashionable cloth for Porthos. At the same time, he will not be able to use measuring tape to take the measurement, because if he touch Porthos, his head will go. Whereas if he doesn't use the measuring tape, measurements will be wrong and he will not be able to stitch a good fitting cloth. Again, the Porthos will be angry and the tailor's head will go. So these are the scenarios. Value is no use of measuring tape. The consequence is that bad fitting clothes and often the head. But the positive consequence is that no touching and no touching. Whereas if he doesn't use measuring tape, suppose he use measuring tape, measurements will be perfect and he will be able to stitch a good fitting cloth. But the problem is he will be touching Porthos and he won't like that. He will take his sword and cut his head. So the desired result of the solution we are going to provide for this problem is no touching, but at the same measurement should be perfect. No touching Porthos and measurements are perfect. This is the desired result. From the solution we are going to suggest. If the solution doesn't address or meet any of this desired result, his head will go. Your tailor's head will go, right? So finally, the solution suggested by the designer is this. So the tailor asked Porthos to stand in front of a mirror and he took the measurement from the image in the mirror. And in that solution, he doesn't touch Porthos and he could get correct measurement from the mirror image and he could stitch a good fitting cloth. So the third activity in inspiration phase is define the problem and come up with a problem statement. Create an actionable problem statement, which is commonly known as point of view in design thinking. So point of view has following three elements. Who is having the problem? User, for example, Sam. What is his need? Sam wants to come to class on time. That is his need. What are the insight or why? So that he won't miss important lessons in the class. So the problem statement will look like this. Sam wants to come to class on time so that he won't miss important lessons in the class. He won't miss important lessons in the class. In addition to the problem statement, we should also frame questions that are called as how might be questions, HMW questions. From the root cause, from the causes you identified using the causal analysis, using multi-why technique or Ishikawa diagram, your solution should address those causes. Then only the problem will get resolved. So based on the causes of the problem, you need to ask questions like, how might we help Sam to come to class on time? How might we help Sam to avoid missing college bus? How might we help Sam to get up early in the morning? How might we help Sam to reach back home early? How might we help Sam to support her mother in the shop? So you need to frame these questions so that it will be there in your mind when you are going to the next phase of ideation to find alternative solutions for the problem. So whatever solutions you are going to suggest for the problem should address any of these should answer any of these questions, right? It could answer multiple questions, or it could answer at least one question from the HMW questions. Then only it will be the right solution for the problem. As I said, the TCS Tata Group is also now focusing on innovation. In order to develop an innovative culture, they have come up with some programs called Tata Innovista and Tata Innoverse. Tata Innovista and Tata Innoverse are innovation challenge platforms, open innovation challenge platforms. And Innovista is only for Tata Group employees. It can be accessed only by Tata Group employees. And Tata Innoverse is an open innovation challenge platform. It can be accessed by public. Tata Group has a lot of companies. They work in all different domains. They have Tata Steel, they have Tata Consultancy Services, they have Tata the Mines, Collieries, they have Tata Motors, they have Tata Watches, Titan, they have Tata Diamonds, the Tanishq, Tata Tea. So they work in a lot of domains, and they have factories in all these domains, and manufacturing facilities in all these domains. And all these companies face a lot of issues, challenges during their normal operational activity. And many problems are still unresolved, and they are not able to solve these problems for quite some time. So Tata Innovation Challenge platforms, Innovista and Innoverse, are used to publish these problems faced by different companies of Tata Group, so that employees or public can come up with solution for those problems, ideas and concepts for solving those problems. Probably first they will publish these problems in Tata Innovista to get ideas and solutions from their own employees. If there is no solution coming up from Tata employees, the problems will be posted in the Tata Innoverse, which is open to public. And they offer a lot of very high rewards for each of these problems. Whoever suggests the solution for the problem will get huge rewards. So these are some of the challenges right now open in the Tata Innoverse platform. Alternative use of used lubricant powder generated from wire drawing machines. It is open and closing date is 27th of October. Reward is ₹5 lakhs. Avoidance of burning of rubber pads in wagons due to direct contact with hot steel coils. It is open and closing is on 23rd 9 2020. Reward is ₹8 lakhs. Prevention of dust at berth and stockyard from surrounding area. Its open and closing date is on 23rd September 2020. Reward is ₹10 lakhs. Prevention of damage to LED lighting due to voltage surge. It is closed on 29th of July, and reward was given to the person who suggested solution. 8 lakhs rupees has been given to the proposer. Pothole detection and mapping them on Google Maps. Rewarded ₹5 lakhs and closed on 28th October 2019. Measurement of illumination level or lux in cities and mapping them onto Google Maps. Smart City enabled, which was closed on 28th of October 2019, and there was no solution suggested by anyone, but the reward was ₹5 lakhs. It is closed right now and it is not reposted as of now. There are other challenges which are open, which are not open, which are closed long back in the previous seasons, and these are some of the good creative problems to be solved, but these are not open at the moment. Now we go to the second stage of design thinking process, ideation. This is the phase where we generate ideas, alternate ideas for solving the problem, and develop these ideas into concepts. There are a lot of tools used in this phase. These are some of the tools that can be used during the ideation stage. Brainstorming, brain writing or 635 method, Scamper, substitute, combine, adapt, modify, put to another use, eliminate, rearrange. Morphological chart, random word technique, picture prompt technique, directed and undirected, affinity mapping or KJ technique, mind mapping, dot voting, idea ranking method, 6 thinking hats, and quality function deployment. So we'll be discussing only the tools which are highlighted in bold because those are the popular tools, and some of the tools we have already seen in module 1. So those tools like brainstorming and dot voting, idea ranking method, all these I will be skipping. Morphological chart, all this we discussed in module 1, which I will skip during module 2. I'm skipping brain writing. This is an improvement of brainstorming method. It is also called 6-3-5 method, meaning 6 members, 3 ideas per member, and 5 iterations. This is how let 6 team members sit around a table. So always start with a brain warm-up session. Then let 6 members sit around a table and give a A4 size paper to each member. Let them write their name on top right corner of the paper. Everyone to write down or sketch 3 ideas. Then the process starts. Everyone has to write 3 ideas to solve the problem on the A4 size paper given to them. After writing 3 ideas by the team members, members will pass their sheet to the person sitting on his or her left hand side. And the person sitting on the left hand side, after getting the paper, he will go through the ideas written by the other person, and he or she will add or suggest few more ideas. He may suggest some ideas which are triggered based on the ideas already written by the other persons, or they can also suggest new ideas and add 3 more ideas to the sheet. And then the sheet is passed again to the person on the left hand side, and he or she adds and suggests few more ideas. This will be repeated until the paper reaches the original team member who wrote the first 3 ideas, right? So it will be 5 iterations. So I am skipping this brain warm-up session, brain gym. So you can give this, we can take up these 2 problems as an exercise for doing the brain writing technique or 6-3-5 method as a group. Write down the ideas or solutions to detect the presence of letters or materials in your mailbox at the gate. Another problem to be solved is write down ideas or solution for cleaning ceiling fans. Morphological chart is another tool which is used in ideation phase. We have discussed this in module 1. I am skipping a slide. So after we brainstorm and come up with load of ideas, suppose you get 100 ideas, hundreds of ideas. How do we choose? How do we decide which is the best idea? All ideas may not be good. So all ideas we may not be able to implement because of resource constraints. So we need to select shortlist and choose the best ideas for implementation. So how do we go about shortlisting and selecting best ideas from a list of hundreds of ideas? The first step is shortlist this list of ideas from 100 to say 10 or 20, for example, right? A simple method to shortlist ideas from a large set of ideas is called affinity mapping. So this is a simple method to group or classify ideas generated during the brainstorming based on some themes or criteria. So this is the first step for shortlisting the ideas for implementation once you get a large number of ideas from brainstorming. This technique is also called KJ technique, named after the person who has introduced this technique, Jiro Kawakita. It is also called KJ technique. These are the steps to be followed. Explain the problem and conduct brainstorming to collect the ideas. Write the ideas on post-it slips, one idea per slip, and paste it on the board. Identify the category or classification or theme of the ideas generated. By looking at the list of ideas posted on the board in post-it slip, random ideas generated during the brainstorming. By looking at those ideas, you will be able to identify some category or classification or theme of these ideas generated. Then, after identifying the theme or classification, you need to call some volunteers who will help you to group these ideas under these categories of classifications or themes, and move the slips to the appropriate category or theme. So the board will look like this. So initially on the left hand side, you will be pasting all random ideas here, and after conducting the brainstorming, you will be pasting all these random ideas here, and after that you will call one or two or three volunteers. You will also decide the category or theme for classifying these ideas. The category selected is motivations, way of learning, way of assessment, and support tools. Those are the 4 categories or themes of ideas where we are going to classify these ideas under. And these volunteers will come and take up each slip and read the idea, and they will decide under which category this idea comes in, and accordingly they will paste that slip under that category. So you will get the ideas sorted or categorized under specific themes. Suppose there are 4 themes, all these 100 ideas will be segregated or classified into 4 categories of 4 themes. Now it has become easy, right? It has not, you will still have 100 ideas. If it was originally 100 ideas, you still will have 100 ideas on the right hand side. But you can further screen these ideas and shortlist them easily. So once you categorize these ideas, you can even eliminate some of the categories because your company is not interested in working on those particular category. For example, there could be categories which are mechanical solutions, electronic and electrical solutions, software solutions, and traditional solutions. So the one company who is working in a software field may not be interested in taking up solutions which are mechanical in nature, or they may not be interested to take up electronic solutions. They may not be interested in traditional solutions. They will be looking for only the solutions in software, using software where they are working. That's the domain they are working on. Similarly, a mechanical engineering company will not be interested in implementing solutions which are software or traditional ways of solving the problem, right? So they'll be interested in only the mechanical solutions. It is also possible that you can combine multiple categories. You'll be focusing on one category, for example, mechanical solutions. Along with that, you can also implement some traditional approaches plus the mechanical solutions, or traditional approaches plus some software applications to solve the problem. So you can combine and eliminate some of the categories completely, or combine some of the ideas together to come up with a new idea. All this can be done once you segregate the ideas into different categories using affinity mapping. Mind mapping is a simple tool again to present the ideas through a mind map diagram in a structured way. And this is a mind map of solutions suggested for solving a problem called detect golf balls. Golf ball is a small white ball, and what happens is when the player hits that ball, it flies very fast, and since it is very small and white in color, it is very difficult to detect the presence of the ball and recover that ball for reuse. So sometimes the balls will be lost, and they have to replace those balls for playing, right? So there are a lot of solutions suggested for detecting and recovering the golf ball, which is shown as a mind map. This is something similar to the affinity mapping, only in the affinity mapping you will see like a tree structure, whereas here it is like a mesh or star type. In the middle you have the problem, and the main category of ideas will be the first nodes. Then from that node you can have the first nodes will be the main solutions. From that you can have sub solutions for each of this main category of ideas. That's how the mind map looks like. Mind map can be used for not only for illustrating the problem, illustrating the solutions for a problem. It can be used for different purposes. This is another website solution for a website. So this shows what are the different pages or contents the website is going to have when it is completed, which is shown as a mind map. Wedding, you are planning for your daughter's wedding. So, and you have to plan for various activities and sub activities which can be represented as a mind map like this. Dot voting is another technique to shortlist best ideas, and we have discussed this in module 1, so I am skipping. Similarly, idea ranking method also we have discussed in module 1. Six thinking hats is another novel technique introduced by Dr. Edward de Bono to solve problems, choose the best alternative from a set of alternatives, for decision making, for making your meetings for effective. For all this purpose, six thinking hats can be used. It is based on a concept called parallel thinking. So in the traditional way of thinking, what happens is when a particular person put forward an idea in a meeting, for example, the first thinking that comes in the minds of other people will be whether will that idea work, right? And then he will put forward a problem with that idea, and the original proposer of the idea will definitely try to defend, and there will be an argument in the meeting between people, right? So we waste a lot of time in arguing things because we think in opposite directions. When one person sees all the positives of an idea, all good points or benefit of an idea, other person may be seeing only the disadvantages of the idea, and they will be talking in two different directions, which will create arguments, and we will be wasting a lot of time in arguing things, and we will not be able to arrive at a solution. So in parallel thinking, what happens is at any point in time, everyone involved in the meeting process will be thinking in the same direction. Since they are thinking, all are thinking in the same direction, there will not be any disagreements, there will not be any arguments. So we will not waste time in arguing things because everyone is thinking in the same direction. For example, if everyone thinks to identify the advantages of an idea, so everyone will talk about positives or advantages. So there will not be any arguments, right? Similarly, if everyone thinks on identifying the cons or the difficulties of the idea or challenges of the idea or problems with the idea, everyone will be thinking in the same direction, the negative direction. Still, again, there will not be any argument at all. And six thinking hats uses six color hats to represent the direction of thinking. Color of the hat represents the direction of thinking. There are six color hats. I will explain the purpose of each of the hats. The white color hats. White color represents the data and information. White is the color of the paper, white paper, where we write a lot of information and data. So white represents data and information. So everyone, whenever the people use white hat, everyone will wear the same color hat at any point in time. Whenever the white hat is used, all are supposed to provide only data and information, nothing else. During the time of using the white hat, everyone is supposed to give information and data. And another is yellow hat. Yellow is the color of the sun, positive. So yellow is for giving positive comments, advantages, benefit, best case scenarios. So when the people of thinking group wears yellow color hats, everyone is supposed to give positive comments, positive points, advantages, best case scenarios, good points. right? So there will not be any argument. Next, another color hat is black hat. Black is sad, sadness, sorrow. So when people wear the black hat, they are supposed to give cons or negatives, disadvantages, warnings, errors, failures, all that can be given while wearing the black hat. So everyone while wearing the black hat will think on disadvantages, warnings, problems with the idea. All this will be put forward by the members involved in the thinking process. So we talked about white color, yellow and black. Another is red. Red stands for emotions and feelings. Red is the color of heart. So it stands for emotions and feelings. When people wear red color hat, they can raise any concerns, any feelings, the fear, anger, all this can be expressed while wearing the red color hat. Even if we work in a professional environment, in an industry, we are all individuals, persons. So emotions, we have emotions, and our emotions and feelings is going to influence our decision making, even in official setup. So red hat, Dr. Edward de Bono has introduced the red hat as a mechanism to funnel out all your feelings and emotions during a decision making process. So once you funnel out all your emotions and feelings while you wear the red hat, for rest of the time when we use other hats, you can think independently without having any bias on your feelings or emotions which you have already expressed. Then you can think coolly and independently and come up with other points of positive, negative, pros and cons and all that, depending on the color of the hat you are going to wear. Next hat is green hat. Green represents the color of vegetation, fertility, right? So green is for creative thinking and lateral thinking, during which you can come up with innovative, creative, wild and crazy ideas for solving the problem, for example. You can also come up with an idea for solving the black hat problem while wearing the green hat. So green hat is always creativity, lateral thinking, thinking outside the box. So green color hat session can be used to express creative ideas. And the last hat is blue hat. Blue hat is normally used by the facilitator to organize the thinking session. So facilitator is the one who is going to coordinate this thinking session. He is the one who is going to decide which are the color hats to be used in the session. Depending on the problem we are going to discuss or solve, the color of the hats to be used will vary. So that will be decided by the facilitator. And the sequence of color to be, what is the sequence of hats to be used? Which color has to be used first, then next? That sequence of use also has to be decided by the facilitator. Also, the time allotted for each hat session should be fixed by the facilitator. All this he does while wearing the blue color hat. Other members can also wear the blue color hat if they think the meeting is not going in the right direction. It is deviating from the procedure. Then anyone can wear the blue hat and redirect the attention or focus towards the normal, right? If the team is deviating from the normal process, anyone can put the blue hat and redirect the focus back. So once you use this technique, you will be focusing on particular direction at any point in time, which will help you to come up with lot of ideas or solutions for positives, pros and cons for a solution, which will help you to shortlist which is the best idea. Once you see the positives of all different ideas and the negatives of all different ideas, from that you will be able to determine which idea is having a lot of positives and with less negative. That way you will be able to identify which is the best solution for the problem. So now you have identified what is the best solution for the problem. What are the best top solutions for the problem? Last stage is implementing that solution. Implementing that solution by making a prototype of the solution or proof of concept of your idea, and go to the customer again and test that prototype with the users in the field to ensure that the solution works and it solves the problem. That is what is done in implementation. There are two activities: developing the prototype and testing the prototype with the users to ensure that the solution works or the prototype works to solve the problem. There are a lot of tools used for prototyping. Depending on the domain of the problem, prototypes used will be different. In the case of a software, product, there are a lot of tools for prototyping the software. Software is nothing but a lot of screens and reports. So you'll be preparing the wireframes or the designs of screens and reports we call it as wireframes or screen mockups. There are a lot of tools like Figma, Balsamiq, Fluid UI, Adobe XD, Loomsy, GoMockingbird.com, Pencil, Draw.io, etc. This can be used to mock up the software screens and reports, which is normally the prototype in the case of a software product, which can be then shown to the user and they will be able to give feedback and comments on the prototype, and that way you can further refine or fine-tune the prototype. There are other in the software field, there are other design modeling tools like Unified Modeling Language Tool, Star UML, Rational Software Architect, etc. also can be used to model your software by usage of UML diagrams. Then in case of mechanical, electrical or civil engineering products, you can definitely use the AutoCAD design software. 3D modeling softwares can be used to make a model, develop a model of your final product using AutoCAD or 3D models. Now we have 3D printing technology, so you can even create a 3D model of your final product, either in the full 100% scale, either full scale, or at a reduced scale. You can make the 3D model easily in few hours using the 3D printing. CNC machines, laser cutting machines, cast metal molds, injection molding, all these can be used for prototyping the mechanical products. Once you have the prototype ready, it has to be tested at the customer side to ensure that it works to solve the problem. So you can do a customer survey again by giving you a product and comparing it, and ask customer to compare it with existing products in the market and give a feedback. You can also do benchmarking to benchmark your product with other products in the market and see where your product stands, and you can further improve that product once you get the feedback. Once you get a understanding on where your product stands in comparison with the competitor products, you will be able to take action to improve that product and reach to the top. And design of experiments, we'll explain. Design of experiments is a technique which is used to evaluate or validate your product with the customer in an iterative way and improve your product continuously till the customer is satisfied with your product. That is what is called design of experiment. You will be designing a lot of experiments to be done with the customer by varying the specifications of your product, and get feedback from the customer again and try to see whether the feedback is appropriate. If the feedback is not satisfiable, then you will again make modifications to the specification, make another set of prototype, go to the customer, get the feedback. This activity will be iterated. That is what is called design of experiments. So these are some of the examples of prototype in different domains. If you are developing a watch or the smartphone, you can have a 3D model using paper, for example. You can use cardboard, paper, plastic, metal sheets, thermocol. All lot of materials can be used to prepare the 3D model, either in full scale or in a reduced scale of your final product to make. When the users see the prototype, they will be able to give a lot of feedback, which will help you to further fine tune your product. These are another some other prototypes. Prototype could be even a diagrammatic representation of your product, storyboard. All this can be used as prototype. Only idea, the main idea is to convey how the product is going to look like and work to the customers. So customers should be able to visualize the product by looking at the prototype, whatever it is. Yeah. It could be a drawing, it could be a 3D model, it could be the wireframes and screenshots, it could be a working model. So by looking at the prototype, the customer should be able to get a feel or visualize the product without any difficulty. That is the basic purpose, so that they will be able to give feedback on what do they like, what they don't like, and how can we improve that product. That information inside you will get from the feedback given by the customers after using the prototype. This is a prototype, normally wireframes for a software product. So wireframes will look like this. You can have the mock-up of various screens that will be there in the software, which will help the users to look at the prototype and understand how the screens are going to look like, how the software is going to look like. They will get an idea. That is software prototype. And design of experiments. This is the last stage normally done in the product development. So design of experiment is a method or technique used by the organizations to improve the quality of their existing or new products and services. It was introduced by Dr. Jenichi Taguchi in 1924. It determines which combinations of design variables produce optimum result, performance, or quality. It determines which combination of input variables will result in optimum performance of the product or optimum output. That's what is done by the design of experiments. You will keep on varying the input and measure the output performance and decide which is the best combination of input, that will result in optimum quality, performance, or output. The process design multiple experiments with different combinations of input or design variables and measure the output performance, and that way they fix the input variable, design variables, and that will be used as the best design variable for the perfect product. So let me ask you a question. How many of you like the coffee made by your mother? And how many of you like the coffee made by your sister? Which one do you like most? Coffee from your mother or coffee from your sister? So definitely majority will like the coffee from your mother. What could be the reason? You may say their experience. Mother has been preparing coffee for 40 years, 50 years, right? And my sister has been preparing coffee only for a few years. So it is the experience that matters. Probably yes. But let me ask you a question. What actually makes the coffee different? Coffee, if you think about the coffee making process, you have a lot of inputs to the process. What are the inputs that goes to the process of coffee making? Sugar, milk, water, coffee powder. All these are the ingredients that makes up the water, milk, sugar, coffee powder, right? Water, milk, sugar, coffee powder. So these are the ingredients that goes as input to the process of making coffee. And output is coffee. So the quality of the coffee, and you have the process, In the process, you have various tools and techniques like stirrer, the pan, stove. All these are tools and technique which is common, which is not going to change. Whether your mother makes the coffee or sister makes the coffee, they are going to use the same tools and technique for preparing the coffee. Only what is the variation? What could be the variation that results in different quality of coffee? Definitely, input are going to decide the quality of your coffee. The proportion of sugar you use, proportion of milk you use, proportion of water you use, proportion of the quantity of coffee powder used, all these quantities of different ingredients used will be definitely different for mother's coffee as well as sister's coffee. So that's why the quality of coffee is different, right? So somebody said, many of you might have said it is because of the experience of your mother, right? So I agree with that, So mother might have made a coffee 50 years before, immediately after her marriage, on the first day morning. She prepared a coffee based on whatever knowledge she had at that point of time. She made the coffee and gave it to her husband in the morning. First coffee made by your mother for her husband. And after giving the coffee, she will ask him for the feedback. Do you like my coffee? So husband will give some feedback. He may say, yeah, it is good, but very, very strong. You could have put little more sugar as well as reduce the coffee powder. It's too strong and too strong. So next day she got that feedback. When she makes the coffee next day, she will keep the quantity of the water and the milk same, and she will try to adjust the quantity of the coffee powder and the sugar based on the feedback given, right? So second day, she made some adjustments in the design variables or inputs and prepared the coffee and gave the coffee to her husband and again asked for the feedback. Today he will give some other feedback. He may say that probably, yeah, you can reduce the sugar a little bit less. Now it is too sweet, too much of sugar. The strength of the coffee is okay. It's okay. Strength is okay, but too much sugar. You can reduce the sugar. So third day, she will again adjust the quantity of the sugar. She will keep all the other things as exactly same as the previous day, and she will try to reduce the sugar. So she was doing experiment, right? She was experimenting with making coffee on day by day, right? Finally, when she gave the coffee on the fourth day to the husband and asked for the feedback, husband commented, "This is the best coffee I ever had in my life. This is the best coffee I ever had in my life." So she has decided to set that combination of ingredients used for that coffee as her brand of coffee. From there onwards, she used to make her brand of coffee using the exact combination of ingredients used for that coffee on the fourth day of her wedding. That is what is called design of experiments. You keep on doing the experiments till you find the right combination of inputs which will give the best performance as output from a process. That will be decided as the specification of your product, and you go for mass manufacture afterwards, right? All of you might have taken coffee from Indian coffee house. If you take coffee from Indian coffee house anywhere in the state Kerala or anywhere outside the state, there are coffee houses, Indian coffee houses outside the state also. So you take coffee from any Indian coffee house anywhere in India, you will get the same coffee, same taste coffee. So they had done this design of experiments to decide what is the combination of ingredients to be used for their brand of coffee. And everywhere they are using the same design variables or same input, so that the performance is always same, the quality is always same. Pizza Hut uses this technique whenever they are going to introduce a new flavor pizza. Whenever they want to introduce new flavor pizza, what they do is, based on the initial ingredients decided by the cook, they will prepare personal pan pizzas of the new flavor pizza. And they will give this personal pan pizzas for all the customers who buy a medium or large size pizza on a day or 1 or 2 days. 1 or 2 days they will give a personal pan pizza of the new flavor to all the customers who buy a medium or large pizza of other flavors. Or they will give it for free for 100 customers, right? Or 2 days or 3 days. They will continue this experiment. So as soon as you finish your meal in the Pizza Hut, you got the personal pan pizza free. They will come back to you with a feedback form, asking for you to give the feedback of the new personal pan pizza. So we'll give, there will be a lot of questions and check boxes and all that. You need to give the feedback whether the questions will look like, whether it is too hot, which topping do you like this ingredient in the topping or not, which ingredient you like most in the topping. All that questions will be asked in the feedback form, and they will get the feedback from various customers. 100 customers who got that personal pan pizza, for example, suppose they were planning to give free for 100 customers. After giving this personal pan pizza free for 100 customers, they will get 100 feedback about this personal pan pizza. They will analyze this feedback and make changes in the ingredients of this new flavor pizza. They will, based on the feedback, they will make changes in the ingredients and make another set of 100 pizzas to be given free for the customers. Right? So they will repeat this for maybe 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, or for 1,000 customers. So they will be repeating the same experiment again and again with revised ingredients or specifications in every instance of the experiment. So this will be continued till they get a very high feedback for their new flavor pizza. So at that point, they will decide the specification or the right combination of inputs to be used for the new flavor pizza. That will be made as their ingredients for the new flavor, and then they will go for the actual sales of that new flavor pizza from next day, for example, right? So this process or this tool or approach is called design of experiments. Benchmarking is another tool to compare your product with other existing products in the market. Definition of benchmarking is very interesting to read. It is the practice of being humble enough to admit that someone else is better at something and being wise enough to learn how to match and even surpass them at it. So you need to realize that we are not the greatest. There are other people who are better than us, and try to learn from them and try to improve yourself so that you can reach their level or even you can surpass them. That is the idea behind benchmarking. These are the steps for product benchmarking. Form a list of design aspect of features which you want to benchmark. Form a list of competitive related product to which you are going to benchmark. Conduct an information search of the existing products in the market. Tear down the multiple products in the class. You try to decompose the product so as you can go to the details of each and every product. And benchmark for feature. You compare each of this feature broken down with your own feature or the component and try to compare the feature and the function, and then rank the products according to what you see when you compare. Establish best-in-class competitors by feature or function by ranking each of the product. Plot industry trends and plan or design redesign of your product. Once you have an assessment or understanding on where your product stands in comparison with the competition, you can take actions to improve your product and repeat this continuously and keep on improving your product. That's the benchmarking is done. So when you are going to do some when you are going to purchase a product, for example, mobile phone, I'm sure you will definitely do a research in the internet to compare the phone you are going to buy with other existing top phones in the market. And then based on the feedback you get or comparison chart you get from the website, you may be choosing which phone to select, for example, right? So this is the chart you may get after benchmarking from various e-commerce sites. So you can actually write what is the actual what is the specification of each of the phones in terms of processor, RAM, memory, OS, display, camera, price, all that, and so which will help you to compare the products, right? You can even use the stars. You can, instead of writing the actual specification, you can also compare and rank them in terms of ranking, putting stars, 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, and 5 star, etc. That way you will be able to compare the features of various brand mobile phones. And you can also give weightage for various components, and depending on the weightage and the scoring for each different models, you can calculate a weighted score. So from the weighted score, you can identify which is the best phone, and you can also identify the position of your phone in comparison with the competitor. There is a tool, software application or mobile app called AnTuTu, which is normally used for comparing benchmarking the Android phones, benchmarking the Android phones. It is a built-in mobile app, Android app, which will help you to benchmark various Android phones, and you will get the output like this. It is like you need to plan which are the processes you are going to benchmark and what are the data to be collected in order to do the benchmarking. That will be decided in the planning stage. You may not benchmark all your processes. You may be selecting some important process to be benchmarked with other competitors, for example. Then you will also decide for that critical process to be benchmarked what are the data to be collected and how are we going to collect the data. That will be decided in the planning stage. Next is the research stage, where you will identify some benchmarking partners with whom you are going to benchmark your process. Also, you will collect data from your own process. Whatever critical process you have decided to benchmark in the planning stage, and you have also decided the data to be collected, how to collect the data. Using that, you will be collecting data from your own critical processes in the research stage, and also you will identify some partners with whom you are going to benchmark your process. You can identify the partners, benchmarking partners from the research. You can do research, web search, or you can get it from the trade journals and magazines. You'll be able to identify, or market survey, whoever is best in the market, best player in the market, you can identify, and then they can be the benchmarking partner for you. Definitely they will be able to help you. Definitely if you want to collect the data from the benchmarking partners, you need to get permission from them to go there and collect data from their process. It is possible to get the approval for collecting the data from other companies because of various reasons, though they may not disclose the confidential information. So this is mandated by some regulations and rules of the country. For example, every company will have this, every country will have some quality awards to be given to various industries. So they may be giving quality awards to the best players in the market in various sectors, right? So one of the criteria, one of the conditions to give the award could be, to receive the award could be, as a recipient of this award, you are supposed to help other companies in the domain to improve also. They need not disclose all the confidential information, but they are supposed to help others also to improve and grow. Because of those conditions, others will be able to help you. They will sign a contract with that company to collect data and study their process. And third stage is you observe. where you will go to the benchmarking partner and collect data from their own process, their process. You had already collected data from your own process in the research stage. In the observe stage, you will collect data from benchmarking partners. And in the fourth stage, you will do a gap analysis, analyze the data collected from your own process as well as from the competitor's process, and try to find the gap in the process by doing a gap analysis. And in the fifth stage, you will adapt or implement, take actions and implement the actions so as to bridge the gap between your process and the competitor's process. It is not enough. If you adapt and improve your process may reach their level, right? But it is not enough. You need to continually keep on improving. If you stop doing anything after adapt, after some time, the competitor will keep on improving further, and after some time, your process will again go down. So you, after reaching their level, you need to keep on improving your own process so that you will be always on top. So this is working. So these are the reference books I used for preparing the module 2 design thinking. Michael Lux, design thinking, and Kevin Otto Christine, product design, and product design and development by Carl Ulrich, Stephen D. Eppinger. These are the 3 reference books used for preparing this. Thank you. Any questions? And if you have, always